All right, so let me start this video with a story. There is a man who walks in a bar and he goes to the counter, talks to the barman and asks for a drink. As he starts sipping his drink, he hears a little noise right next to him. He turns and sees a dog sitting on the floor and making a very painful noise. So after a couple of minutes, the man is annoyed at the noise, so he turns to the barman and asks, "Hey, what's wrong with that dog?" And the barman says he is sitting on a nail and it's basically hurting him. The man looks at the dog. He's like, "Why doesn't he move?" The barman answers, "I guess it doesn't hurt enough yet." In this video, I'm going to cover why in B2B sales, a lot of companies go wrong when they go down market and why targeting the right companies matter. There is a concept that's often overlooked by most companies I've worked with, which is the pain threshold. They think that they can just go down market, go after smaller companies because these are more transactional deals, and they can sell their solution faster at a cheaper price and make a lot of sales and gain a lot of clients before they move up market. But this thought process is flawed, and I'm going to explain. Just like the dog, when our customers don't feel enough of a pain, they're not going to move. The status quo needs to be more painful than the future, because if they have to spend energy, resources, money to unlock that new usage to bring into them, they're going to have an incentive. Without this incentive, they won't want to move, and that incentive is pain. We like to say in sales and marketing that people move faster away from pain than toward benefits, right? You need to find a pain big enough that it rises above the noise and gets the project done. One of the key questions is, what's the size of a problem? I'm going to give you a couple of examples and tell you a few stories of where we have gone wrong in the past in terms of execution and targeting based on the strategy of some companies we've worked with. A lot of companies don't have a problem big enough to be solved, or even if they do, it's more of a luxury to adopt the solution or service you're proposing. The problem with that is you're likely to acquire clients who are going to churn because they're not really getting a lot of benefits from your solution. For example, in the past, I was a co-founder in an employee onboarding software company. We were doing an HR tech software, which was destined to help HR people onboard their team more efficiently and faster. The problem is that the whole thought process is that we would go after smaller companies for several reasons. One, they were underserved. Most of the companies that were already in the space were going after bigger clients. The second idea was that we could equip the entire country. There were more companies and we would make up in volume what we lacked in scale in terms of the kind of client we would acquire. Now, here's the problem. If you onboard 1 or 2 people a year, the issue is that the pain you're feeling is not big enough for you to justify installing or even automating these processes. A lot of people will onboard 1 person a year, but companies will onboard 100 people a year, 1,000 people a year, really need to have solid processes and automation in place to sustain this kind of volume while doing great quality. We've all been sidetracked by HubSpot versus Salesforce. Salesforce has been the enterprise software for a long time. HubSpot is the perfect example of a company that has developed within the SMB market, with a free offering for startups going all the way to paid for SMBs, and really equipping a lot of companies out there and growing, building new modules to encompass sales, marketing, customer success, and more. The issue with that story is that if you go to the SMB market or startup market, they still need a CRM. They do need a CRM from the get-go, but do they need your software or your service from the get-go? That's a big question. A lot of companies get sidetracked and think everybody is my market. Everybody could purchase my software. Everybody could purchase my service. It's not true more often than not. If you are a company that has 10 people and you hire only 1, would an applicant tracking system make sense? Do you really need to manage your applicants, or can you manage it with an Excel or by hand? Because you don't really have that many applicants and you're not going to hire for another 12 months. So that problem is a one-time thing to solve. And this is where you need to really assess, is the problem big enough for people to want to solve it? Is the problem urgent enough for them to want to solve it? Because here's what's going to happen to your client acquisition cost. They're going to explode. The reason they're going to explode is because the pain is not urgent and important. So you're going to spend a lot of time convincing, educating, and following up on your prospects to try to make a sale. You're also likely to have a very high churn. And this is something I've seen in cybersecurity with my smaller clients. They didn't really adopt the solution because they were using it little, that when came time for renewal and we hit a bad market downturn, a lot of them canceled because they didn't really adopt it. They were barely using it. And so when budget slash came in and people started asking, what are we not using that we can cut? It was one of the first software to cut. The problem wasn't so much in the delivery, the adoption, the training, the customer success. The problem was in the acquisition in the first place, because the wrong expectations were set and people would think they could just purchase it and not have to adopt it. They didn't really have the resources to operationalize it and to use it. So before deciding to go for smaller clients, try to identify if the pain is still big enough, if it's still complex enough, and if it's urgent enough for you to be top of mind and for your sales to go through and clients to realize the value through your software or service. What can really help is quantifying that pain. What happens if they don't move? How much is it costing them today? How many people are doing that job? How many salaries? How much is it costing them to be inefficient around that process? If you can quantify that pain, you're going to achieve a couple of things. You're going to be able to sell better because you're going to build business cases for them. And you know that if it's an urgent, important problem, you can put numbers next to it and that will get it approved by the executive committee. The second thing is it will inform your targeting because you will only go after companies that have some of the core metrics that you can qualify that will make your solution worthwhile to adopt. So that's it for this video. It's the first video of a long series about pain and problems of our clients and why it's important to prioritize companies that have a bigger pain and urgent problem around what we're selling. The goal was to help you understand why it's important to go after the pain, the kind of pain that clients really want to solve. Otherwise, you're never going to get past the executive committee, even if your champion is looking to adopt the solution or the service. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like and a comment if you have questions or thoughts around this topic. I hope you enjoyed this video and you can click on the next one where we cover more topics about B2B sales and go-to-market.